Good Tuesday evening. I was going to say Monday. Whoa. What a game last night. Wonder if that dude's okay. What's up, everybody? Thank you, Kel. Leave some DNA on the like button. And the DNA emoji. That's cool. What's up, Cassie? Pam? Next week is the last one before the little one arrives. Nice. Hopefully it's going by in a snap. Yes, I'm sure you are ready. Good evening, Allison. Making chicken and beef fajita, Spanish rice, pinto beans for dinner, strawberry shortcake for dessert. Damn. Gotta get Allison with some cooking shows. It does sound good. What's up, SRB? Zupa Toscana. Zupa Toscana. What? What is that? Never heard of it. Just like I didn't hear of, what was that? Something sticks? Catch sticks or something? Whatever the dumplings or whatever the something. Yeah, I love breakfast for dinner too. Also getting breakfast. Yum. I don't know if anyone else is having issues with your. Oh. Oh wow. That's crazy. Well, mostly my dogs have. Dang, I'm sorry. I don't. You aren't getting notifications. Well, I forgot to put out a notification until right before the show. I was like, shit, I never did one today. Everything on YouTube is not right on my end. Dang. That sucks. Right. I know YouTube's changing up something. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Kid Kitty. Hopefully you feel better. Hey, Pam! Oh my gosh. Then the mama showed up. What happened after that? There's a soup you can get at Olive Garden, but homemade is better. Pot stickers. Yeah, that's what pot stickers. I said like catch stickers or something. Yeah, I hope you feel better, Kid Kitty. Yes. Yeah, I was like, oh shit, I never put one out there. Fuck. Let me hurry up and do that real quick. Sorry about that. Whew, so much stuff. So much stuff. So I'm just gonna kind of, with that football game last night, there's 2 days of updates. So I'm gonna scroll through. Stuck on top chat. Cannot switch to live chat at all. Huh. I'm guessing this guy's people don't see his face because she gave it. Oh wow. Standing up on front legs, but don't they like turn around to spray you? How does that work? How does this, like, does the skunk turn around and then shoot its ass at you or what? How does that happen? All issues began this afternoon. See if it doesn't. That sucks. Well, let me check Brian Enton's Twitter real quick. I haven't been on his. Oh boy, I got a whole bunch of football stuff on here. There we go, Brian. Wow, the last tweet from him was on the 12th. That's crazy. With the skunk stuff. Alright, let's see what we got on the burner. I'm gonna go ahead and go through all of the updates the last couple days. Go through the new ones first. And then we'll get into that phone call chat at some point. That's always going to be there. I've even restarted my phone. Some people in 2 other chats were also complaining, all iPhone users, so I'm guessing there's a funky glitch. Oh, wow. Huh. I'm going to go ahead and throw a link out there if anybody would like to hop in the panel. And you're more than welcome to call too. All right, let me see what we got. Yeah, I hope it. YouTube, I don't know. I know they're like doing something. They're like changing something. I can't remember what it was. I seen it because it was when I was looking up all the other issues with YouTube, and that came across. Check email. All right. Yeah, I got emails I gotta go through too. Jeez. Let me see here. When did you send the pic, Kel? I have so many emails. When did you send the pic? And what's the subject title? There's just so many. All right. Cartel style execution in Goshen, California. Just now. Huh, I'm not seeing. I'm seeing one from this morning. I don't. It must not have came. Skunk spray? Yeah, I still haven't got the email. That's weird. What's up, Liam's mama? Crime family, what's up? Sorry, let me try to get it. Oh, nice. That's cool. Yeah, I don't see that. I'll check back here in a second. I want to go. I just heard about this a little bit ago. I wanted to check this cartel thing out, whatever that is. And then let me keep checking the email. I haven't got it yet for some reason. I just thought it was easier. No, I'm serious. Like, I haven't got the email yet. Oh, there it is. I don't know what's going on. Whoa. Dang, that's how they spray? So they stand up on their front legs. Weird. Here, let me get rid of me. So they stand up on their front legs and then shoot back. Huh. So, like, if they're in danger, they just literally turn around and shoot? I mean, I'm surprised they actually go through the effort of turning around. Like, you think that would give something an opportunity to strike? Huh, that's crazy. The long intro. Guys, we had a package delivered today and a cat sprayed it sitting on my porch. What? What the heck? That's gross. Oh, the smell. They do that on your roof, and then when we run the cooler, the smell just... What? Wow. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. I did too. That's interesting. Thank you for being here, CJ. Give Gabby a shout out. Oh, what's up, Gabby? Is she in the chat? Is she in the chat or just listening? Thank you, Gabby. That's cool. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were saying that about... I thought you were saying that to Cout. Not sure on TikTok. Yes, Pam and... Yeah, vinegar. Oh, gosh, that smell. Horrible. All right, let me go to this video real quick. The 6 victims identified in cartel-style execution in Goshen, California. I just seen this a little bit ago.
To identify those victims today and provide those to you. Many of you have already discovered who they are
What?
through social media.
What?
I would caution you, please don't be listening to factual information from social media. That is not where you will find your facts. I will keep you informed. I will make sure that you have what we have as we are able to release it to you for the integrity of the case. If you have questions, please reach out to our media services here at the Sheriff's Office. What we're able to give you, we will. One of the victims, when deputies arrived, was still alive. He immediately began CPR. Unfortunately, he died at the hospital. The victims are here. Eladio Perez, 52 years of age.
At least they had...
Marcos Perez, 19 years of age.
I'm going to start that over. I'm wondering if the dude was able, or whoever was able to say something at least. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Have you guys heard about this? I didn't. I just seen this on the Breaking.
Was still alive. He immediately began CPR. Unfortunately, he died at the hospital.
Oh, thank you, Gabby.
Here. Eladio Perez, 52 years of age.
I appreciate
Marcos Perez, 19 years of age. Jennifer Anaya, 49 years of age. Rosa Perez, 72 years of age.
Whoa, 72.
Melissa Perez, 16 years of age.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Nicholas Perez, 10 months of age.
10 months? Oh my gosh, from 10 months to 72. My Lord.
Correction. On scene that night, we believe that the young teenage female was 17 years old. In fact, we later learned that she was 16 years old, and I believe I put out that she was 17. We also believed at the time that the infant was 6 months old. We later learned that it was 10 months old. So I want to make that correction for all of you today. She was 16, and the small infant was 10 months old.
Whoa.
She was found, along with the infant, laying next to her mother, his mother, down the street. We believe that the 16-year-old teenage mother and her small infant actually was fleeing and running from the scene. What we have since learned through forensics, that it was clear that the shooters stood over the top of the 16-year-old mother and fired rounds into her head.
Oh my gosh.
The 10-month-old infant also suffered from the same attack.
Oh my gosh.
None of this was by accident.
Whoa.
It was deliberate. Intentional and horrific. I will tell you this. We do know of 3 surviving victims from this, what we're describing as a massacre. 3.
I don't know, Cassie. It
We will
said
be
cartel
interviewing them
style.
and
No,
collecting
this
as much information as we can.
Goshen, California.
There was one person inside the home hiding.
One person
as they
hiding?
could hear the gunfire erupting inside the home. The description from him is that he was in such a state of fear that all he could do was hold the door,
Oh
hoping
my
that he was not the next victim.
gosh.
Detectives, at this point, we do believe that we are in the search for 2 known suspects. Potentially a third in an escape vehicle, but we don't know that to be true. This is going off a hypothesis from law enforcement, but we do know that, in fact, we have 2 suspects. It is very clear that this family was a target and that there are gang associations involved as well as drug investigations with us in this home. But let me make this very clear. Not all these people in this home were gang members, and not all of these people in this home were drug dealers. The 16-year-old female is an innocent victim. The grandmother inside appears to be an innocent victim.
Said not
and
all.
Definitely this 10-month-old child is an innocent victim. I'll tell you a little bit of the history of the home. On January 3rd of this year, Tulare County Sheriff's Office patrol officers conducted what we call a parole compliance check. Basically what that is when we know people who are on felony parole and are in the community, we will stop and make sure that they're abiding by the law. This compliance check done on January 3rd is the same home where the massacre occurred on Monday. This is a known home to our department. This is where gang activity has routinely occurred in the past.
Wow.
During that compliance check, deputies saw shell casings laying on the ground outside the home. When asked if we could go inside and search, they refused, and that's where the search warrant was read. We obtained a legal search warrant from a judge, and we were able to do a search warrant of the home. And we found Eladio Perez, who was already on felony convictions, was in possession of ammunition, felon in possession of a firearm, felon in possession of a short-barreled rifle, felon in possession of an assault weapon, a loaded weapon in possession of a firearm, and possessions of a controlled substance. He unfortunately was able to bail out 4 days later. So law enforcement doing their due diligence in community service and protection, part of our duties is to go into these homes and try to remove guns, drugs, and that type of activity. And this home was known to us.
Wow.
That's how I'm able to say that this is a gang-related activity. I have also been quoted as saying this was a cartel-like execution. Make no mistake, I'm not saying that this is a cartel, but also be clear that I am not eliminating that possibility. These people were clearly shot in the head, and they were also shot in places that the shooter would know that quick death would occur.
Wow. Wow.
This is also similar to high-ranking gang affiliations in the style of execution that they commit. So we don't know if it is a gang-affiliated shooting, a cartel affiliation, or if the 2 are combined. But what we can tell you is the manner in which this has occurred is definitely one of the 2, if not combined. As the investigation unravels and we're able to confirm one or the other, you will be the first to know. Detectives, as far as man hours, detectives have been working 24 hours a day. And when I say that, I don't mean they go home at midnight and get back up again at 7 in the morning. We have investigators working literally 24 hours a day. With forensic analysis and the collection of forensics, we have our crime lab, digital forensics, our coroner's office, and property and evidence. There has literally at this point been hundreds of items of evidence collected. And we expect more items of evidence to be collected. As of this press conference, detectives are still canvassing the area, looking for surveillance videos, asking for the public's help. And so here today, within this conference, I'm also asking for the public's help. Anyone in that area, if you have a business, it is an industrial area very nearby in the Goshen area. There are residences with Ring cameras. There are video all over. Between the hours of 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., we're asking you to go back, take a look at your business videos. Go back and look at your home videos. Doesn't matter how far away you were from the scene. Any video evidence that you find suspicious, please contact the Tulare County Sheriff's Office. We want to look at it. Take the time to go look at your business video and your Ring camera videos and report what you have and save what you have. I would also like to commend and thank the law enforcement community that has come out in support and offering assistance in this investigation. Behind me today, of which I received phone calls within hours, from the ATF, FBI, Homeland Security, DEA, Department of Justice, and the California Department of Corrections. Every one of them called within hours, offering resources and assistance. I have them with me today behind me. I have our investigators, our captains of investigations, but I also have those federal agencies. We are pulling out all stops. We are turning over every rock. Every bit of information in the community that you feel is suspicious or that you would like to give us, we want it. I received a phone call from U.S. Congressman Jim Costas. He offered victim support. He sits on a committee for victims of these types of crimes and have offered federal support for our victims. And we must remember, we have victims. I will bring you up to date as our autopsies. Autopsies on the bodies have started today. They will likely be completed on Friday. That'll be part of the information in our next press conference that I'll be able to provide.
That's fucking crazy. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. Dang it, it kicked me all the way out. Kicked me all the way out. That is crazy. And you know, that's all that fentanyl coming over. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, this just came out a little bit ago. I wanted to click on this one real quick. Athena Brownfield.
Now to a breaking development out of Oklahoma, where investigators say they found the remains of a child. Police making that tragic discovery today while searching for a missing girl. Now, Athena Brownfield was reported missing last Tuesday. New court documents have revealed gruesome details of what may have happened to the 4-year-old and a chilling confession from the person who was supposed to be caring for her. Caitlin Ogle from our Oklahoma City affiliate explains how this turned into a recovery effort.
Little Athena's caretaker and relative was just arraigned inside the Caddo County Courthouse. Her bond now set at $500,000. Last Tuesday, Athena's older sister told a pollster worker she was tired of being alone in her surreal home. That kicked off a massive search for little Athena. It started in a home, then moved to a Grady County field, then a pond. Thursday, Athena's relative, Alicia Adams, was arrested on 2 counts of child neglect.
Wow.
Hundreds of miles away in Arizona, Alicia's husband, Ivan Adams, was arrested. He's now facing first-degree murder and child neglect charges.
And he took off.
New court documents show on Christmas night around midnight, Ivan allegedly beat Athena, then held her up by her arms. Alicia told investigators the little girl was not moving and her eyes were barely closed. Ivan Adams then, quote, laid her on the ground and punched her at least 3 more times in the chest. Little Athena never moved after that.
What?
We're told Athena...
Hold on a minute.
...closed. Ivan Adams then, quote, laid her on the ground and murder and child neglect charges. New court documents show on Christmas night around midnight, Ivan allegedly beat Athena, then held her up by her arms.
Oh my God.
Alicia told investigators the little girl was not moving and her eyes were barely closed. Ivan Adams then, quote, laid her on the ground and punched her at least 3 more times in the chest. Little Athena never moved after that.
Oh my
We're told
gosh.
Athena's biological parents are now working with investigators, and her older sister is now in the care of a family member
What
and
the
is safe.
fuck?
Back to you, Nicole.
All right, thank you for that. And those remains have not yet been positively identified. We will continue to follow this and bring.
Beat her, held. What the hell? Whoa. Oh, no problem. I mean, I think we need to switch to. I'm not saying there's not gonna be Idaho stuff tonight. I'm just gonna try and, because it's been a couple days, I'm just gonna try and get through all the stuff that's just come out. You know, if we need to, I wasn't even able to go through the second video actually with all the football stuff that was going on. I wasn't actually able to go through the second video. So I thought we would either get to it tonight or, you know, it's always there so we can figure it out. And I got my notes, but there's so much stuff over the last couple days that I wanted to check out. I'm just like, dang, it's crazy just having a day and a half away from the show, and there's so much. It going to get worse today, but it's all good. It was. Every show was about it, you know, but man, there was so much stuff we had to talk about, you know. Not saying anything bad, but yeah, exactly. I'm not saying there's not going to be some videos in there about it, but there's a lot of other stuff too. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. You and Gabby. Dang, Cassie. I'm muted. I can't. That's crazy. I can't believe that. And then he took off to Arizona, you know? Oh, you're welcome. And then he takes off to Arizona. See, I knew that they were looking for her, but I didn't hear all that. I've been out of the true crime for a couple days. Man, you know what? Let me see. Okay, so that's basically the same thing. Arrested, weirdy. That's basically the same thing. Okay, here we go. Children, extended family, not an option. What? What? Huh? Extended family, not an option.
6 years ago, Anna Walsh and her husband Brian welcomed their first baby into the world, and it was a little boy. 2 years after that, another boy would follow, and with yet another pregnancy, 2 years later, the trifecta would be complete. 3 baby boys, all under the age of 4. But those little boys, now 2, 4, and 6, have not laid eyes on their mother for 2 weeks. They have not had a hug or a snuggle. And they haven't seen their father since a week ago today, because he's sitting in jail, accused of lying to the police about where he was in the hours after their mommy vanished. He is not an official suspect in Anna's disappearance yet, and Anna's disappearance is not a murder yet. But usually when we report on tragedies like this, little kids are swept up into the loving arms of their grandparents or their uncles or their aunties, and it is a different story for the Walsh boys. Anna Walsh's family's from Serbia, so there are some complications there. Brian Walsh is an only child, so no aunts, no uncles there. His father died in 2018. His mother is alive, but she's become part of the investigation since trash bags from a dumpster right around her home contained blood, a carpet, a hacksaw, and a hatchet. So where are those 3 little boys supposed to go? For now, they're in the custody of the state of Massachusetts. And at such a young age, it is impossible to imagine what those babies are going through with no family member anywhere in sight.
And I hope they don't get split up
from somebody you trust and love.
I hope they don't get split up either.
Joining me now to sort through what happens in a process like this is Darby Fox. She's a child and adolescent family therapist. Darby, I got a couple of things I want to ask you about the process and then the emotions of this all for little guys, right? First, let's talk about the process. What does it mean when we hear at this early stage they are in state custody? What kind of state custody? What kind of bed? What kind of mommy figure?
So that's a great question, Ashley, and we can't totally answer that. But what we want to keep our mind on is the state custody means they have to take over and have the actual responsibility of having these kids. They could be in a home, they could be in a specialized foster home where the parents have gone through trauma therapy training and they are used to taking something like this. We just don't know. And it makes sense from a legal perspective that, especially with this investigation still going on.
Kib Kitty, because she's Serbian, and so they're all out of the country. And he's an only child, and there's no other family. So that's why it's just automatic, because they're not gonna allow the children to leave the country. Because then basically they have no control at that point over what happens. So that's why they're in state custody, because she had dual citizenship, I believe. Right. Yeah. It was probably one of those, like royalty setups and shit, but they just thought he was royalty or some shit,
And the grandmother now involved, or the paternal grandmother now involved at some level, that legally the only people that can be held responsible for these kids is the state of Massachusetts. So it doesn't necessarily mean they're in a bad place or in a bad home, but it means the state is protecting them and they will make the decisions.
That's
on
what I'm
what
thinking,
happens to the
Allison,
children.
with what was
Okay, the
found.
big question everybody has when they see all these pictures have all three little boys in them, right? There's rarely a picture without all three of those little guys. Look at them. They're so cute. They even dress the same. Please tell me they don't get split up, especially in these early days. Just they would keep all three together because they are the only family now that
Not
they have.
necessarily.
They will make every effort to keep all three together.
Bull
That
crap.
is all family law is based on that. Anytime you go into a foster care system or any kind of custody like this, the research tells us, family law tells us, we try to keep them all together.
Yeah,
and
they
with
say
some
that.
kind of biological attachment.
They say
So
that.
the only time they might get separated is if there is a care need, like a disability or some special need that is too much for one family to take, or if there isn't a family that can take all three. And sometimes states are overwhelmed and don't have someone who can take all three.
Yeah, they say that, but
I
then
didn't
they
want to
end
hear
up-
that. That was
yeah.
what I was hoping you weren't going to say.
Right.
Something tells me that there are going to be so
What
many
she
people
said
who
in the
come forward.
beginning
We've
is
already
what they're
heard of three
supposed to say.
neighbors and friends who've made an application
I knew it was BS.
DCFS. Here's a weird question, and I don't want it to sound shallow, but little kids don't know the difference between shallow and what they just deserve, right? But they look like they come from a pretty fancy household. They look like they come from lots of money. Grandpa had a Salvador Dali. So can the state figure out a way to get them into an environment that's kind of close to the lifestyle in which they've become accustomed, or is that sort of out the door?
That's really out the door unless one of the foster families that matches up is a family of means, like you say, with the background. They will certainly try when they assess them to put them with someone that is first priority will be handling 3 kids in trauma. That would be the first priority. And the means doesn't come into play really as a first choice, to be honest.
Yeah, the trauma is a whole other kettle of fish, right? This will be lifelong, especially for the 6-year-old who really knows a lot more than the 4 and certainly than the 2-year-old. Darby, oh gosh, I wish we were talking under different circumstances. It's nice to see you. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's so sad. Unfortunately, it's probably what's going to happen. I not really understand. Yeah. There's some more on there. Just give me 1 second here. Here's another Banfield.
None of this means that if Anna Walsh is a victim of foul play, her husband is responsible, nor do financial crimes necessarily lead to violent crimes. But I want to explore all of this with one of my favorite experts who knows pretty much everything about this, Robbie Ludwig. She's a psychotherapist and she's the author of Till Death Do Us Part, Love, Marriage, and the Mind of the Killer's Spouse. So clearly you wrote the book about stories like this. First, your take on all of this story, Robbie.
Well, the fact that Anna was in danger before they even got married and thought that she was in danger of being killed, and then really before her disappearance called her mother and was unsettled. It just sounds like she was in an abusive relationship where she was endangered, and she was married to a career criminal. And it was obvious. And one of the hallmarks of somebody who is a career criminal is their family wants nothing to do with them, and they don't have any friends. Why? Because they burned all of their bridges. And you're right, financial crimes don't equal murder. But in some cases, when a person is desperate, it certainly can.
So talk to me about financial stressors, because if you look at his past, which we just laid out, not only were there financial stressors, but she was doing well. By all accounts, the friend said that the job that she got in Washington, D.C. Was a good one. And Brian himself said in court documents, asking for leniency in the sentencing for the art fraud, she got a better job. She has a great income. She's got great benefits. And I can't move to Washington because of our situation. So obviously that might lend something else to this whole metric of how their relationship might have been.
Absolutely. So if Brian was feeling bad about himself because he financially was not measuring up, he probably considered himself a loser financially, was under a lot of financial duress, which really increases mental health issues. So it increases a person's depression, anxiety, rage level, in some cases, suicidality. And I would imagine that Brian was very jealous of his wife and angry with his wife. Here's someone who he might have wanted to be the perfect wife, and he presented himself as this uber successful businessman.
Right.
And now he's under house arrest, and he has a very beautiful wife who is very successful. He might have felt he was in danger of losing her and losing everything, and his pride took over, and he's a violent guy.
Robbie, this is what I don't understand. People who are in fear of losing the spouse for whatever reason, so they kill them. That doesn't make any sense to me. You're in fear of losing them, so you lose them forever by your own hand. I can never get around that. But I do want to ask you this. The notion that Brian didn't call police to report his wife missing for 4 days. I mean, she went missing on the 1st. He doesn't call police till the 4th. Look, let's be frank. Us moms, we wouldn't go a day or two without checking in on a 2, a 4, and a 6-year-old. No matter how busy we are, no matter whether we're running the world, we find the time to pick up the phone and say, what happened today? Is everybody good? Or I'm just checking in. It's been a day or 2 days. Oh, God forbid it's been 3. What do you make of this story that Brian said, well, she's busy, so she doesn't always check in?
Well, it just sounds like he's making excuses. And also, he didn't want his wife to be found. Why would he want her to be found, especially if he's responsible for her being missing? So this is a person, it sounds like he'd rather have his wife dead than show him up or leave him. It's just very suspicious, unnerving. And again, right now, just so unfortunate for these 3 boys who are the innocent victims in all of this.
I smell a complete rat when I hear somebody say she was busy, she didn't check in for 4 days on her 2-year-old, her 4-year-old, and her 6-year-old. Robbie Ludwig, I knew you'd have the answers. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it seems like he didn't give a shit about the kids either. They were just pawns. Man. What the hell? She made some good points, too. Let's see here. We do have some Delphi stuff too. Road rage on the rise across the U.S.
Tensions are running high on America's highways and byways. Road rage across the country is on the rise, and it is not just yelling through the window. It is much more dangerous than that. Some situations have escalated to gunfire. We've seen people hitting each other with pipes. Alex Capriello joins us live from Los Angeles. We'll look at what in the world
Hitting
is
each other
going
with
on
pipes?
and why this type of crime is increasing. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, good morning to you, Mitch. We're tracking several road rage incidents here in California, including one man who's being blamed for as many as 11 different altercations here on the freeway. But in reality, this is an issue that's really growing all across the nation.
Every 17 hours, someone is shot during a road rage incident across America.
So this is the
Every 17 hours, somebody's shot in a road rage incident in America? Every 17 hours?
bullet hole.
In fact, just last year, more than 130 people were killed after tempers flared behind the wheel.
Hi, my vehicle just got shot on the side of the highway.
Police are trying to track down bad offenders, like this driver in Los Angeles. Watch as he swerves and cuts off a man who had his camera recording. Seconds later, after slamming on his brakes, he jumps out and begins pounding the other driver's window with what appears to be a pipe. We're keeping this victim anonymous so the road rage driver won't know who he is.
I was thinking this guy's crazy, and I was wondering, what should I do? Because you always think, oh, I'll just run him over, or I'll hit him with my car. But when you're actually there, it took a lot of restraint just to kind of process what was going on.
All across the U.S., incidents are on the rise. In Florida, 2 men exchanged gunfire, with both their daughters ending up shot. In Ohio, someone opened fire on 25-year-old Cody Hale, nearly missing her 24-day-old baby in the backseat. And in Texas, watch this high-speed bump and run.
He decides to go by me, and I think he's going to pass me, but instead of passing me, he takes the front of his car and he rams it into the back right rear wheel of my car.
Law enforcement across the U.S. are hoping cooler heads will prevail while on the road. They also want you to know that even minor road rage incidents can lead to hefty...
Why would you use your vehicle to run into somebody else's for road rage? Aren't you supposed to learn that when you're a little kid, when you get mad at a video game and break your controller and you have to pay for it out of your own money?
Fines or even jail time.
So you may be wondering, what should I do if I find myself right in the middle of a road rage incident? Well, we have some tips from the police. The number one biggest tip that they have is just don't engage. So often these incidents are aggravated when both sides provoke each other. So really show some restraint there. And then number 2, make sure you're paying attention and keeping track of the make, model, and license plate number of anyone who's behaving badly, because in the end, you may be called as a witness to try to track down repeat offenders. Mitch?
Thank you for that primer, Alex. Now,
thank you for...
Holy shit, man. Every 17 hours. Don't tick off anyone. My sister-in-law honked her horn and the guy stopped and waved his gun at her. Whoa. Jeez, it's a lot more than I thought then. Holy crap. I mean, I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was like that everywhere. Wow. Then I heard about this too. Some little toddler outside an apartment or something.
Dan Abrams is actually joining us live right now. Dan, thank you so much. I know this was on your show On Patrol Live, and you had this video of a baby waving a gun around. I mean, you're a dad. This is just disturbing on so many levels.
Well, now imagine it coming in live, right? You almost can't believe it as it's coming in. We cover.
Look at that! Oh my God!
We follow the police as they go to calls. They do traffic stops.
That kid is so lucky.
But on this one, first you see the police going to the scene, right? You
Walking
see what the neighbors are saying,
like...
etc. You're horrified. But when you see the video, when we actually were able to get the surveillance footage, it really took it to another level in terms of sort of hitting you and watching that child waving around the weapon. And I think it had that impact.
I know, and then watch
on
when
the
he
police
walks back
as well,
this way,
because
it's like
as you
pointed
pointed
right
out,
at his
they were
damn neck.
initially
Oh
going
my
to leave
gosh,
that
look at
scene.
that. Oh, jeez.
And then they get the video and they, you see them sort of race back into the house. And at this point, with a very different tone than the first time they were there. And you can imagine why.
I can't believe that. Okay, they can be done showing it. Are they seriously just going to keep replaying? I mean, that's disturbing. Jeez, what? Oh, thank God he wasn't hurt. And I heard that the parent was arrested. Oh, okay. This is something I did want to show because we do cover a lot of this true crime stuff. This is Surviving the Survivor. And this is what a crime suspect family goes through because, we do talk about the speculated guilty ones, suspects that are innocent until proven guilty. But I thought this might be interesting to see just, like a different aspect of the stuff that we do talk about. I thought it might be kind of cool to share.
But from an emotional standpoint, obviously the victims are these 4 college students and their families. But do you feel for the suspect's family as well, who were at home at the time that warrant was issued and they went and captured their suspect?
Yeah, I mean, I know for the Golden State Killer, I was aware that he had been married and that he had children. In fact, when he was arrested, I believe he was living with, I think, his granddaughter. And yeah, I remember thinking how absolutely horrible that must be to then suddenly be learning these horrible things about somebody that you probably love and care about. And the same thing is true for Rasmussen, who was the person that I identified who'd been responsible for the Bear Brook murders. Again, he's got family members. In fact, to confirm that we'd identified the right guy, they got Y DNA from his son. And yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what that must be like. It must be terrible.
And Agent Duffy, Thursday morning, we have Dennis Rader's daughter on, the notorious BTK serial killer. I've been dealing with her, offline, sweet as can be. Just because there's a monster in the family doesn't make the family
bear spray
heinous per se. I mean, do you have thoughts about what the family is coping with right now?
Yeah, the family of the suspect.
Yeah, well, obviously the victims' families are tortured. That is for sure. But I was speaking about the suspect's family.
Yeah. This is I think a very difficult avenue to go down. But having, as an interviewer, right, my job is when I get involved in a case and investigation, I know that the goal line is ultimately justice for the victims, those that are in the courtroom, and if it's a homicide or somebody that can't be there, obviously for the victims that can't be, providing their voice. But as an interviewer, my job is to get a real sense of who the suspect is. And I'm not jumping into the facts of the case. I want to know a background of the person I'm talking with. And it all comes down to rapport. And especially today where interviews are recorded, I've watched my interviews in a courtroom when...
Okay, my bad. I thought this was actually what a crime suspect family goes through, but I get it. Not what I thought. All right. There's a new Anna Walsh video. You need more spray. You guys. All right. Documents show employer. Okay. What was the final straw? These just came out.
The continued investigation has now allowed police to obtain an arrest warrant charging Brian Walsh with the murder of his wife.
16 days after Anna Walsh disappeared, Massachusetts police charged her husband Brian with murder. Prosecutors say they found blood in the couple's basement, along with a broken, bloody knife. Investigators also found a hacksaw, blood, and a disposed rug at the dumpster across the street from his mother's condo. Ashley Banfield is doing the show from Massachusetts tonight and is there now.
Wow.
Look, sad case all the way around. Do we know what the final straw was that they're able to charge
she's on
him, even though they
location?
haven't found her?
I can't wait for that. And we're going to have to. So Leland, this arrest today there was a lot of rumblings about it. But when it came through, they said, we're not actually going to give you the details supporting this arrest warrant until the appearance. And that's expected to be as early as tomorrow. And make no mistake, Leland, you're going to have a lot to talk about after that hearing, because it's one thing to bring somebody in on a charge of being, obfuscating with the police. It's another to bring someone in on a charge of murder, especially when you don't have a body. So tomorrow, I think we're going to get some remarkable details above and beyond what you have already heard.
That's
and
true.
P.S., what we've already heard in my line of work is called remarkable.
Yeah, well, look, okay, there wasn't a lot of whodunit, right? After we figured out that he had searched on the internet how to dispose of a 115-pound woman's body, most people who have not murdered their wife and their wife is missing don't search for that on Google. So the question would be, do we have any insight anymore into sort of what transpired in the home between New Year's Eve when she was seen and the next couple of days when she didn't show up for work?
No, but I think we're going to get some of that, because if you want to make the leap from
Ooh, I'm going to take a screenshot of this real quick. Huh. Walsh's host New Year's Eve dinner at their home. Wow. So they host a dinner at their house. Last seen around 1 a.m. The next day, so something happened at the party that night. Something had to have happened at that party that night. 1 a.m.? It must not have took very long, because it had to be right after that last person left, probably. Right after the last person left, something happened. Whoa. Let me check chat real quick. I'll leave this up there. A moose. Look at that knowledge, Celt. I better see moose when we were in Yellowstone and only saw a buffalo. Dinner time. It does sound really odd, like how it's like other people we cover in these cases, like, really, you did that? That's what it seems like to me, SRB. Like, something happened that upset him that night at the party, and right after that last person left, something happened. 1 a.m. Well, that's when she was last seen. Who knows?
You said she went to work, she didn't show, you didn't, report her missing, and then you were doing all these crazy things. If you want to make that leap, you better have something solid. because I'm not even a defense attorney, and I could probably defend that in court. So that's why I say when there's an arraignment likely tomorrow, I think you're going to get some narrative that's going to knock your socks off.
Oh.
I think they have so much more than they just.
Yeah, because they charged him with murder without a body, so they have something. They probably have, I don't know, they probably have DNA, you know. Well, we got her DNA all over this, you know, item and cloth and
Dribbed and drabbed out in those original hearings, because it is, like I said, this is a really
he looks so different in his pictures than what he looks like right now.
big charge. And Leland, one of the things people don't usually.
Yeah, maybe he got mad at her when company was there and then everybody started to bounce. I said I went over the Atlantic Ocean.
Usually understand about the strategy of timing when you charge someone is that the clock starts.
Yep.
We have a right to a speedy trial in this country. And if you are not ready and you don't have your ducks in a row as a prosecutor, the clock starts anyway. And you better get ready fast. And so it sounds to me like just in the last 9 days since they brought him in on being, you know, difficult and you know, basically pushing back on the questions and lying, that's what their allegation is. It sounds to me like they crossed their T's and dotted their I's and effectively, I think, got some lab work in. And once the lab work came back that that's Anna Walsh's blood, I think that's probably where you're going to get the nexus.
Right. And Evan Lambert reported that the video we showed at the beginning of the prosecutor announcing these charges, it actually was filmed 5 days ago. So to your point of crossing T's and dotted I's, they knew about this. You've covered way too many of these kinds of really sad stories to count, where it's a husband and a wife, the husband kills the wife. The true victims in all of this always end up being the children, in the truest sense of the word. Are we any closer to understanding the why behind this, or in the past, has there been a consistent why through it?
You know, I have two questions that I usually ask when there's a suspicious crime, and especially a murder, and especially a family murder. The first is follow the money, and the second is follow the marriage license. And so whatever transpired between these two, that is going to be a big part of what a jury wants to hear. And I will say this, that bottle of wine that was, or a bottle of champagne or whatever it was, that had that message on it on New Year's Eve, that was so uplifting and so sweet from Anna, it just didn't sound like, you know, the couple in the throes of about to call it quits. I do know this, in his affidavits before, Leland, and this is super key, he actually told a court in his sentencing memorandum, his sentencing affidavit, look, I'm the sole custodian for these kids. My wife got a way better job. She has the health insurance. She got this great job in Washington, D.C., and I can't move there because I got this anklet on. So I think he's a bit bitter about that to start with. But whether she was putting the kibosh on him altogether because she wanted to go there permanently and she'd had enough of this business, this, you're about to be sentenced for this fraud, for your faking art. I don't know. But that message on the bottle that clearly I think was from New Year's Eve, it's just confounding to me because it sounds like a woman who was trying to make things work. So what happened that night? Fire betting woman, Leland. I see this so many times. There was a fight. It got ugly. And somebody died, and maybe it wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. That's how I would probably start my research.
Right.
Thanks for watching. Go to News Nation now.
Yeah, something after the party. Oh, enjoy, Kel. Enjoy. Yeah, nature's beautiful, isn't it? CNN has a video too. Wow, that was a great video there. Documents show employer reported.
Now to a very important update on a story we've been watching closely here in the Situation Room. A murder warrant has just been issued for the husband of a missing Massachusetts woman, Anna Walsh. CNN's Brian Todd has details for us. Brian, what is the latest?
Well, this warrant comes after a massive search lasting about 2 weeks, a search for any sign of Anna Walsh. Police have so far turned up circumstantial evidence, but authorities clearly believe it's strong enough to charge her husband. Brian Walsh, tonight facing murder charges in the mysterious disappearance of his wife, Anna Walsh. That word coming from the District Attorney of Norfolk County, Massachusetts, Michael Morrissey.
The continued investigation has now allowed police to obtain an arrest warrant charging Brian Walsh with the murder of his wife.
A murder charge despite the fact that authorities have not disclosed that a body or body parts have been discovered. Experts say a body is not needed to bring charges.
You don't need a body anymore. It's great when you have it. It's great when you have a video of the event. But the forensic evidence has gotten so much better in the past 15 or 20 years. Not only internet searches, but DNA. So even without the body, they're going to have enough evidence, seemingly, as they put it all together, to focus on nobody else but him.
There is considerable circumstantial evidence. Law enforcement sources told CNN a hacksaw, torn up cloth, and what appear to be bloodstains were recovered from a garbage transfer station north of Boston. Earlier, prosecutors said a bloodied, broken knife and bloodstains were found in a search of the family's basement in Cohasset, Massachusetts.
They have the utensils, or the tools to dismember a body. The tools are there. If you can find a body, or if you can find body parts, you can link up those items found in the trash with the skeletal remains.
CNN also learned that law enforcement collected DNA samples from the Walsh's sons, presumably to compare those samples to the blood found in the trash piles and in the basement. Law enforcement sources say Brian Walsh's internet records showed searches in the days following his wife's disappearance of how to dismember a body and how to dispose of a 115-pound woman's body. Prosecutors have said he bought $450 in cleaning supplies the day after her disappearance.
That would include mops, bucket, tops, T-Vex, drop cloths, as well as various kinds of tape.
And CNN has obtained police logs showing it was Anna Walsh's employer who first called police to report her missing, not her husband. Brian Walsh's attorney says that call was the result of him telling the employer she was missing. But that wasn't until January 4th, 3 days after he told police he last saw her.
When you delay reporting of a crime or delay reporting of what could be a crime, what that does is it gives you time and distance before the police get involved.
Brian Walsh had already been charged with misleading investigators, which he's pleaded not guilty to. CNN reached out to Walsh's lawyers for response to the murder warrant. They had no comment. Walsh is scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow morning.
We'll see what happens there. All right, Brian, thank you very much. Let's discuss with our chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst, John Miller, and CNN legal analyst, Joey Jackson. John, what changed today for authorities to issue this murder warrant?
Well, Wolf, I think last week the investigators testified before the grand jury, kind of lining up the evidence that we've seen described in the last story. And then I think the last witness to go in the grand jury was from the state police lab, and that testimony is probably what led them from where they were to a warrant to arrest him for murder.
You know, Joey, there's clearly, as we heard in Brian's report, overwhelming amount of circumstantial evidence, still no body. How does this hold up legally?
I think it holds up very well as we look at the key circumstantial evidence. When I say very well, with respect to moving forward with the prosecution, as you look at the blood and the bloody knife in the basement, the hacksaw and apparent blood stains at the trash collection, the husband's internet search.
That's so much.
The husband's purchase of the...
That's so much stuff. Internet search, hacksaw. Blood and knife in basement. I mean, and then he walks out smiling. What the hell?
The husband's purchase of the cleaning supplies. What everyone has to remember, Wolf, is that circumstantial evidence is evidence. The reality is that criminals generally don't, or murderers commit crimes in the light of day where everyone can see. And when ultimately we look at this, I think you're going to see, when you examine the warrant, when it's released, a healthy dose of forensic evidence and what that evidence may be in terms of blood and where it was collected. I think you'll see internet activity more that. I think you'll see cell phone pinging and not pinging with respect to her phone being active and inactive. I think there'll be his timeline and his whereabouts and whether he was justified.
You guys are
in being
going
there.
everywhere.
So I think it's shaping up to be a very compelling case, Wolf, even in the absence of a body.
Yeah, good point. You know, John, you just heard our reporting that Anna Walsh was first reported missing by her employer, not by her husband. What does that tell you?
That tells me that one of the people that the employer reached out to say, where's Anna, was the husband. And I think at the point that the conversation turned to, well, we're worried, we're going to call the police. Once he learned they called.
He looks so much different in all of his pictures than the way he looks now.
The police, he called the police behind them.
You know, Joey, what can we expect from tomorrow's arraignment?
Yeah, I think when a person gets before the court, the most important thing is that a defendant is informed of his constitutional right to a lawyer, constitutional right to remain silent, etc. You have an opportunity during the first appearance to establish your bail conditions. We know he's already in on bail with the other case. I would expect that to increase as a result of that. He'll ultimately have an opportunity to plead not guilty. The charges may not be formally read with respect to all the details, but I think we'll see some unveiling of what specific evidence the police do have and prosecutors have, so to bring him to justice. This is the beginning of a long process, but it's a very significant step in the search for finding out what specifically happened and when and why. Quite frankly,
yeah,
this would have.
Those are important points. And John, you think we'll actually hear from the prosecutors a motive in this particular case?
I'm not sure they're going to get into motive at this stage of the game. And as Joe will tell you, it's not something they have to prove. It's something they like to prove. But I do agree that we're going to see, if this prosecutor follows the pattern that he has so far in this case, we're going to see a charging document rich with details, some of which we've talked about, but I'm told there are things in there that we haven't reported yet.
And Joey, you think we'll hear of a motive?
You know, inquiring minds always want to know, Wolf. And so when you actually are proving a case as a prosecutor, you don't have to establish motive, but you certainly want, as a jury, to understand why someone would do this. So I think in the natural course of events, as it unfolds, we will learn what his mindset was. We will learn how he was driven to this, and we'll learn the details, quite frankly, of how it actually happened. So I do believe ultimately we'll get to the issue of motive.
All right, Joey Jackson, John Miller, guys, thank you very, very much. We'll stay on top of this story for sure.
Damn. That's disturbing. You made your teen sneak you some sand. My theme and oh, neat. My sister has all her stuff like that. All the sea stuff. It's pretty neat. Let's see here. Potential tornadoes. What? Huge snow? Oh my gosh. Do you guys, I don't know if you guys seen this. I think this was like right before my show started. I watched the whole body cam of this suitcase murder. Just, if anybody was following this back then, this came across the feed today. I was like, holy crap, I remember this.
Why don't we go ahead and address Sarah Boone, since I think some people would prefer that case get called next. So, so the last time we talked, Mr. Bankiewicz, we had a status hearing. Ms. Boone was present, and where we left things is you were going to follow up with her, have a meeting at the jail, and see where things stand. So have you had a chance to meet with Ms. Boone?
Judge, I have not, and the reason I have not is this is the first day I'm out of bed with COVID, and I contracted that. I had her set actually twice last week and had to cancel both of those because of COVID. issues. And so, like I said, today's the first day that I am actually up and about. And so I'm going to have to reschedule that meeting with her. But the case is not ready for trial. We're still looking into experts, and I have a death penalty case that's set time certain in Lake County, starting the first week in February, and expected to last probably 3 weeks. So I'm asking for your April docket and for purposes of a continuance.
What's already done?
I've spoken to 2 experts, and they have not gotten back with me as far as scheduling and going out to see Ms. There was an expert initially hired by the attorney that she hired privately, but there was no follow-up with that expert, and I have followed up with that expert, and basically, and I've told Mr. Cacciatore this, it's going to be a battered spouse defense, and so we need to get some specific experts in that field to be able to testify.
When does your death penalty trial start in Lake County?
First week in February.
And how long do y'all anticipate?
3 weeks.
Wow.
Mr. J, do you know what Mr. Cacciatore's position on this is?
He has no objection, and I don't know if the court sets status dates when it's nebulous when people are going to be ready.
Oh, if you search Sarah Boone and then suitcase, you'll see, if you watch the police body cam, there's 2 different body cams, and then it has her interrogation, and they're all on YouTube. It has her interrogation and everything. I'm serious, you guys gotta check those out. Both of the body cams, and especially the interrogation. It's all on YouTube. I apologize, I don't have the links for it. I remember watching it on YouTube, and I was like, are you freaking serious? It's a woman accused of murdering her boyfriend by suffocating him in a locked suitcase, and she's going to use battered spousal defense in her upcoming trial. Sarah Boone faces second-degree murder charge for the death of Jorge Torres Jr. in their Winter Park, Florida home. Boone's trial is now scheduled to begin on April 8th. Oh, here, I'll put the link to this video, and it has all of the information, full interrogation and everything. Here you go. 1 second. So in the description of this link that I'm sending you right here, it has everything right there. The interrogation. Good stuff. Awesome, Law and Crime.
Or if you just go ahead and set pretrial dates, that's fine. April sounds.
Well, I need it on a pretrial docket, so I'm gonna grant Mr. Bankowitz's continuance on a.
You'll just have to check it. You'll just have to watch. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know.
On behalf of Ms. Boone, I'm gonna set it for pretrial on March 28th and a trial period starting April 10th. But I'm going to ask that Mr. Cacciatore and Mr. Bankowitz do schedule.
He was still alive because there's a video out there on YouTube as well. She actually took her cell phone out, right? He was still alive. He was still in the suitcase, and she took her cell phone out and recorded her screaming at him and talking shit to him and taunting him on her cell phone. There's that video on YouTube as well. I don't know how you search it, but I came across that too, and I watched the interrogation. I saw the freaking video that she recorded herself on her cell phone. And you can hear him like, "Sarah, please." You know, you can hear him saying stuff. You can know he's still alive and he's in the suitcase. It's just crazy. She's sitting there taunting him and shit.
A status conference on the case end of February or beginning of March. Mr. Banquets, I want to make sure that you've been out to see Ms. Boone. And if there are any issues coming out of that, I want to address that sooner rather than later.
Yes, sir.
All right. File your motion. I'll grant the motion. The dates are as previously announced.
Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Banquets, what else do you have on the docket today?
That's all I have.
All right. Have a good day, sir.
I have no idea, Kib Kitty, seriously. All right, here's another video from News Nation. Friend says Anna Walsh really spoke about her husband.
Anna was a big part of Sky International Center in New England for a few years, and she was also a sponsor of one of the biggest events of the Sky International Center, the Gatsby Gala. And I know her professionally through real estate and as a sponsor for the event. She came to the group, always was full of life, incredible giving person, quick thinker, and very good management skills. So when she would make a commitment, she would follow through. And the surprising part was that Anna always spoke about her children, but never spoke about Brian. And also she would not come with Brian to the events, even though those events were special and for her career were special because we recognized her as a community, invited her to the stage.
Wow.
And when I asked Anna
why was she not with him
alone, she said it was avoidance. It was never a direct answer. It was unusual, typically when such a big event as that was the event of the opening of the grand opening of the Sky International Center, you would think that Anna professionally would be with her husband and perhaps nanny would take care of the kids. If I would ask directly, Anna would say, let's talk about the kids. So
wait, hold on a second. Natasha,
probably.
Hold on, just so I understand, yes. Natasha. When you would ask your friend what's going on with your husband or whatever, the way people ask, she'd say, let's talk about the kids?
Correct.
And how did you take it?
Basically switching the subject. I didn't take it personally because a lot of successful women are going through challenges, and it's not easy to manage your career and the children and the family. And I knew that there were some challenges with Brian's past, but it was a no subject. So
all right, but let's talk about that. What kind of no subject it was, Natasha? Did you know enough to know that she was afraid or that she was pushing for things to end, or that there was any type of crisis?
I can't.
Oh, you're good, Pam. I'm still feeling it. I'm still feeling the exhaustion of the sports show last night and then how late I was up. What a game, though.
Say that I'm the best friend of Anna, so I'd like to speak from the facts. When we spoke directly about
I'm just pooped today. I was pooped last night.
Family and husbands, that would be exactly the answer. Let's not talk about it. So it was pure avoidance, and I'm not the person that I would push the subject further if the person is not willing to open up. But you could see the pain or avoidance or the subject. And when Anna posted some posts on Instagram, like vulnerability, and there would be
the one with the mark on her eye
to talk about it. Yes. So
did you ever ask her about what that meant? Because she doesn't explain how it happened.
Not directly.
She changed the caption later. She just said vulnerability with a hashtag.
What?
Correct. And that's why I
Oh my
tried
gosh.
once, and then Anna would be easily and happily to
Posted pic with facial bruise. Vulnerability. Whoa.
talk about friends, community, international community. She expressed very deep feelings for me as Ukrainian, because we spoke about Serbian war and Ukrainian war. In fact, I invited her to come to the Ukrainian festival in Boston University last August. And Anna said, I'm really sorry, but right now I cannot participate because I am moving my whole life and kids and the family. That's how she said, to Washington, D.C. She, in fact, changed her career. She stayed in the same field in real estate, but she had all of the plans. She said that she had all of her professional life now has moved to Washington, D.C. She didn't give the reason why, from my understanding.
Right.
I did ask. She said it would be good for my career. But I think Anna, she's a Cornell University educated woman. She would have a career anywhere.
Right.
It was her choice for the reasons that are unknown to me personally. But I thought, this woman can move the mountains. Whatever she decides, it's great. And I wished her the best journey ever. And she said,
and now the concern is they have 3 young kids. Again. The father is
Correct.
In custody.
And that's the biggest
concern. The mother
concern.
is missing.
Yes. Yes. And it does not look like, unfortunately, that the mother or the sister are coming. It's a tough subject. So basically, we as a community decided to help the children to keep them together. If you are aware of Massachusetts, GCF, Fostering Care, and the Child Protection Services, the statistics, unfortunately, are not favorable for siblings. Around 50% of the children are still being separated. It's not like in Canada or in Europe that siblings are not allowed to be separated. Massachusetts allows to separate siblings, and this is our biggest concern as friends of Anna. We want to protect them and make sure that if somebody from the family will show up, that they will take care of the kids. But right now, we've contacted Braintree office where supposedly the kids are located. They were supposed to move to the foster care as of last week. We've contacted everybody from the government to the police. And unfortunately, there is no response to us as an international community.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go.
Hey. By the way, I was kind of doing some stuff in the background here. This is the cell phone video that I'm talking about. This is a playlist, the Sarah Boone Trial Law and Crime Network. It's got 4 videos. It's got the body cam, the interrogation, and then the actual cell phone video that she took. So I'll put the link in the chat, and then it'll take you right to the list.
For everything you've done to me. For everything you've done to me. Fuck you.
She's laughing.
Fuck you. Stupid. That's my name. Don't wear it out.
I can't fucking breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah.
And yeah, so that'll have all of the, you're welcome. That'll have all the videos for you there. All right, let's see what else I got here. 2 planes nearly collide at JFK. And I'm probably,
Well, and
everybody's kind of pooped out tonight. I am too. So I'm probably just going to scroll through what is in Idaho. And then there is some stuff that came out the last couple of days that we can go over, but we'll swing over on that side tomorrow. The next show. And we'll just kind of see what else is going on, all this other stuff, and then probably end it at least before the usual 10 o'clock. crazy. I never.
Near wreck
Two planes nearly collided.
on the runway, now under investigation. Two commercial planes nearly collided at JFK Airport. The near disaster happening Friday night, and radar shows the moment a departing Delta flight came to a sudden stop,
Wow.
about 1,000 feet short of hitting a taxiing American Airlines plane. Through the air traffic controller audio, we learned one of those planes was in the wrong location.
American 106 Heavy, American 106 Heavy, hold position. American 106 Heavy, hold position.
Delta 1943, cancel takeoff clearance. Delta 1943, cancel takeoff clearance. Rejecting.
Tower American 106 Heavy.
American 106 Heavy.
The last clearance we were given, we were cleared to cross. Is that correct?
American 106 Heavy. We're departing runway 4 left. Yes, we'll listen to the tapes, but you were supposed to depart runway 4 left. You're currently holding short of 31 left.
Roger, American 106 Heavy.
All right, now both the NTSB and the FAA are investigating. Greg Fife formerly worked as an NTSB senior air safety investigator. He joins us live. Greg, thank you for being here. You heard the audio. A lot of people's first question, how does this happen? Would you say this was human error or a technological error?
Nicole, it's a combination of both. The air crew does have instrumentation in the aircraft where they can actually track their movements on the ground. The question's going to be, did they have that moving map
You can tell that's a fake background.
display up that depicts the airport and the taxiway that they were on? Now, it's obvious from the air traffic control communication that they did acknowledge the right clearance. They just turned the wrong direction. We're on the wrong taxiway and we're preparing to take off on the wrong runway.
Oh.
Yeah, terrifying. So the pilot ended up rejecting that takeoff. Do they practice these types of situations regularly? Is this something that they would be prepared for?
The other aircraft, the Delta 737 that did reject the takeoff, yes. During pilot training at both initial and then during recurrent training, aborted takeoffs are practiced, or rejected takeoffs are practiced on a regular basis for a variety of different reasons. So the crew is prepared. And in this case, you have the air traffic controller who actually called the abort for Delta and they rejected the takeoff. Fortunately, it was in a timely manner. But the big question is,
I'm sorry, SRB. This is crazy. We got the point, right? Oh. I'm sorry you guys aren't feeling good. I am tired. I really am. I was tired last night. And there was so many other sports stuff I wanted to talk about too. I probably should have, even though the football game was going on. I have so many other things to talk about sports too. Let's see here. A few words from Keegan Kline's former cellmate. Huh? Ooh, it's a crime to sleep. I'm not sure if we used their videos before. Yeah, I'm pooped out. I've been pooped out ever since overtime. Even this weekend, I think Saturday afternoon, I finally woke up at 3 from just catching up from the whole week. Woke up at like 3 in the afternoon. And then did the show Saturday. Worked on some stuff for the show, for the sports stuff. Then did the sports show Sunday afternoon. Then did stuff around home. Then did the show Sunday night. And then overtime Monday. Just some long days at work too. The last couple days. All right, it's a crime to sleep. I'm interested. I know Keegan Kline's former cellmate. Huh. Only 39 likes and 1,000. A few words and even a song from No, who is Keegan Kline's former cellmate.
Lived in North Central Indiana for the past
5 years. I've been up here and I've done several, I've worked in the education system here. I've worked in healthcare. I've also currently I work in shipping and handling. So I've always, I always kept a job,
I'll put the link up to this video in chat.
I've coached soccer in the past here in the state of Indiana. He was there already when I got there. What happened is, like I've always, it's sad to say, but I have struggles with alcohol and drug addiction.
Oh, so this was the former cellmate. Okay. I was wondering, like, who?
I have struggles with alcohol and drug addiction. This summer, I had a relapse, and I ended up getting arrested for possession of a narcotic drug, and I was, sent to jail. Here, I live in Wabash, Indiana, so I went to Wabash County Jail. And I was there a few days, and then they asked me to pack my things, and I was gonna get moved, and that was because of overcrowded conditions. So I ended up in June. I ended up in Miami County Jail, and I arrived there late. So the way it works there in Miami County, they open the doors like at 6 a.m. and they close them at 10 p.m. So it's a main day room with cells or rooms, just so people understand. Cells, which are separate rooms. They usually house two to 4 people per room. And I was housed by myself. So I got there pretty late, and everybody was locked in already. And the next morning at 6 a.m. when they opened the door for breakfast, everybody was out and spends time in the day room. And later in the morning, I was playing chess with another inmate, and he's the one who told me that. He asked me if I heard of the Delphi murders, and of course I had heard of them. I had never followed the case, but I heard of the case. And he told me that the person of interest was being housed at the same, they're called blocks.
Wow.
But just so you understand, dormitory.
Yeah.
He was being housed in the same dormitory as I was. He was actually 2 doors down from my cell. No, at that time he was being housed with Donald Newman, another sex offender. 100 block in Miami County is what they call a PC block. That stands for protective custody block. So most of the inmates that go into that block have complicated charges: rape, sex offenses, and also low-level drug offenses like mine. People might wonder, why are you mixed with? It just happens. And also, when you go through intake, you have the option to go to a PC unit or dormitory or the general population. My point in that is most of the inmates who are going to be in a protective custody, like I said, they have either sex offenses or low-level drug charges that don't want to mix with the higher risk inmates, and also ex or former gang members who have threats on their lives, right? And so it's a mix of just inmates that just want to do time and move on. So that's why they put sex offenders into that block, so that they're not mixed with the higher risk, higher level inmates. And yeah, so basically, to answer your question, is basically people there are not gang banging. That term means they're not in gang activity. There's no fighting. There's no, people are just trying to do time and get out and move on. I was getting visitation daily. I was there from like June 12th till I'm sorry, July 12th through August 20. Well, I was there till September 29th, but he was removed from there like around August 28 or 29. So the best part of 2 months. While I was there, because Kagan was being constantly called out by law enforcement or his lawyer.
What?
And one time he came back in and announced that 5 or 10 charges had been dropped. So he had 30 and he ended up with like 20 or 25 charges. They're all related to child exploitation. So I'm gonna take that back. I don't remember the level of charge because each level of offense carries a different amount of time, and I better take that back. I'm not informed well to say Ollie, and I specifically asked that question, and I said, I'm sorry as to why. I mean, your attraction to Kagan, and my feeling is, my sense is that she's got like the mother instinct in her. She's a mother, and she might feel sorry for him, how everybody's slandering Mr. Klein, and she claimed that they knew each other in the past. They were mutual friends, so that's why she took interest in reaching out to him, because she was mutual friends with him through her ex-husband. I'm a musician myself too.
I don't know. We just came across this video from this channel. I don't even know if I used a video of theirs before or not. It's a crime to sleep. But this is just from a former cellmate, so I don't know. No idea. I'm just checking it out. Liam's mama.
Right, and we talked about.
Sorry to hear about that, Pam.
I really never saw any lyrics, or saw him, tapping on the tables, making beats and rapping or whatever. I never saw him do any music there, and I'm not aware that he had an album or anything like that. I'm sorry, you're touching.
Said something. He said something in the beginning that he was transferred because of overcrowding or something like that. He was in Wabash, but then got transferred to Miami or something county, something like that. But he went through in the beginning of why he ended up going where he was at. I couldn't. I got a little. I've just had a couple sips on my coffee. Not much. Yeah, here. I'll throw the link up to it. I don't know. It just came across my feed, Coat, through the breaking. I don't know if I was subscribed to that. Let me see if I am. Yeah, I'm subscribed. So it's a channel I ended up subscribing to for some reason or another, and I don't know. It just popped up. It's from a day ago.
Watching Waters, but yeah.
Oh my gosh, 30 surgeries.
After I found out who he was and why he was there, what started the whole thing with me interacting with Kagan was I created a little small game with a sock and some soup noodles that I crushed, and I put them in a sock and sewed them, and I created a bean bag. Do you know what a bean bag is? Okay, I'm gonna show you one. Just give me 1 second. Okay. This is a bean bag. This you throw around and you play games with it. And in Indiana, there's something called cornhole, and we happen to have one right here. Okay. It's got a hole, and you set this afar, and you throw the beanbag, and it's supposed to land in the hole, and you get points. Someone else. It's called cornhole. Okay, so I created a beanbag, and I started talking. I used it for juggling, I'm a former soccer player and soccer coach, so I would juggle it around while I walked around, and for sensory therapy, and keep me active doing something. And one day I started tossing it over and making it land on the table that was across the day room in the dormitory. And another guy got on the other side and he started tossing it back to me. So we started playing table hole. We called it table hole. And we was having fun doing that. And Kagan jumped right in next to me and said, "Can we play doubles?" And sure, let's play double. I mean, we ended up making tournaments out of this thing, man. And that's how I met. That's how I started talking to Kagan. Right. He was my cornhole or table hole partner, and we played every day until the guards would come up and say, "You're not supposed to be throwing things around the day room," and we would have to stop and wait till they walked away, and then we played again. So I do not live in Delphi. I live in Wabash, Indiana. It's 52 minutes from Delphi. And in Peru, Peru's just the next town over from Wabash. Peru's about 15 minutes from Wabash on 24, US 24. Yeah, I've been there twice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I talked to him once, and the second time he
Thank you, SRB.
He declined my. Yeah, I am. I said the first.
I'll probably be hopping off here shortly myself. Another little bit, and then I might hang out on the video games for a little bit before I go to bed. So I might be on Twitch for a little bit after the podcast. But I feel you. I feel you. And anybody else, I'm sorry you guys don't feel good. Sorry you guys are sleepy too. It must just be all over. It's one of them Tuesday things right now.
First visit, I had been talking to Holly, sharing just thoughts.
Yeah, I'm not putting too much into what he's saying either. When he says that he was like a soccer coach and so I'm just here to hear. I'm just more for entertainment purposes and to see if anything interesting does get said. Yeah, good night.
And information with
it definitely
her.
Feels
and
it definitely feels like an hour later than what it is right now. Seriously.
And just to find out that she told Kagan, and when I went to visit him the first time, he took the visit, he accepted the visit, and we talked, and he immediately lashed out and said, "Why are you contacting Holly?" And I said, "Because you told me to contact her," right? He told me that Holly was either a part owner or was involved with a coffee shop in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and that they had open mic events. So that's why I reached out to Holly and I said, "Hey, I play guitar. You have a coffee shop. How about, can I play at your coffee shop?"
Oh, thank you, Pam.
And when she finally reached out back to me,
right?
she
Liam's
cleared
mama,
that she
I'm
did
like,
not have a coffee shop in
I'm
Fort
like,
Wayne.
damn, you can be
so then
playing
our
that shit.
conversation turned.
And then he says like they would stop. "Hey, you guys can't be throwing stuff in the day room," and then they'd start playing as soon as he left. Right? I don't know.
Just, getting to know each other, and we talked on Messenger video and through texting, and we were gonna meet in Peru and go visit Kagan. So right the day before when we were gonna meet and go visit Kagan, she stopped replying to me, and the reason was because I had how all this stuff started with me coming out and stuff was through a comment that I made at a podcast called The Unsolved, right? And I've only communicate with you and with him throughout this time. So I had sent him a message and I told him that I had contact with Holly and that we were going to meet and that we were going to meet Kagan. And The Unsolved, probably part my fault. I did not clarify with him, and he went ahead and made a short video about former cellmate meeting with Kagan and Holly. And Holly saw that video, and she immediately burned my phone and started. I was at work, and she was texting me and calling me. And when I finally took the call during lunch, she clearly told me, I am not upset. I'm used to this crap. People are starting to harass me again because you leaked that we were meeting Kagan, and the Unsolved published that information. So everybody's watching it. And I said, look, I'm sorry. I did talk to him, but I didn't know he was going to publish it. I wasn't clear with him. It was not his fault either. And she said, well, tell him that it's okay and that I'm not mad. Okay, and we'll meet tomorrow with Kagan. So I showed up to Peru and Miami County Jail to meet with Kagan, visit him, and she never showed, and she stopped replying to me. So when I opened the visit with Kagan, we talked, and he immediately lashed out about Holly. Well, she told me that you're harassing her, and what do you want with her? And I said, look, man, I have not harassed her. We was talking about, information, just thoughts, sharing thoughts, and etc. And my first intention was the coffee shop and playing music, but then it turned into, okay, let's go visit Kagan. And he got mad, and he kind of, he wasn't rude to me. Kagan doesn't curse a lot. He didn't call me names or anything, but he was just, upset.
I don't know. It looks like he's at some kind of transition home. It looks like some kind of transition home, basement rec area or something.
And he ended the visit. The visit lasted 8 minutes. And then I went back again last week when I was in Delphi. On the way through, I stopped in Peru, and I punched in on the kiosk to visit Kagan, and I waited about 5 minutes, and he never got on the visit. So I asked the guard, do you know if Kagan's going to accept my visit? And she called the intercom, talked to Kagan, and Kagan said decline. So I didn't get to talk to him.
I don't know.
I'm gonna show you.
I'm just assuming. I don't know, Liam.
This one here. Okay. I always put a description on every art piece that I do, right? This is what started the caricature thing when I drew this guy, right? I always have a bubble with something funny. Then Kagan was like, you can draw one for me. And yeah, I drew this one. And just for, the record, they're here and they're mine and they're not for sale. Okay. And I don't, they're not, it's nothing spectacular. It's just caricatures. Signature and there's a channel called A Criming Shame with Sunny Justice, a lady named Deb, some guy, Adam Aspen maybe, and another lady called Alexa, and they.
So you must know. Okay. So you must know a lot about. See, I don't know shit about this dude or any of this stuff. Yeah, it's A Crime to Sleep is the YouTube channel. Yeah, pass it along to JSD, Kel. Yeah, I don't know. I was just saying maybe it was. Who knows? It could be a church. I don't know. It doesn't say in the description, so really it's up to your imagination on where it could be taking place or whatever. Really, I'm not sure.
These because I had sent these to the Unsolved published them, and they took them and they had a segment like for 4 hours with a lady named Alexa, who is a handwriting expert, and she concluded that these were fake. Here's a portrait of Holly Lowerly, and a description of the art piece, and Kagan's signature, right? So they concluded, along with another man named Louis, Sonny Justice, and Aspen and Alexa and Louis, concluded that I had conspired with Holly and Kagan to draw art to profit, to make money. Well, I'd like to tell that channel that I have a job, and I've always had a job, whether it was teaching or in a healthcare facility or coaching soccer or in shipping and handling. You can ask anybody in the state of Indiana. I've lived in several communities. I have always had a job, okay? I earn money working, not through YouTube monetizing channels.
Right.
Okay. I've always paid taxes. I am my worst own enemy. I keep shooting myself on the foot. I could have a luxurious career in education, but I don't because of substance abuse and alcohol.
Luxurious career.
At least you're honest, you know.
And I'm doing something about it.
Correct. Yeah.
Something about it. I'm reaching out. I'm in a facility here where it's sober living. I have programming. I keep a job. It's fake.
So sober living keeps a job.
Based, and I'm doing something about it. I cannot change the past, but I can do better today.
Absolutely.
I can do today. And this panel has dedicated their time when they've had me on their channel, or they've had my work, or I've been a topic of their channel, to say that I'm just a junkie, a druggie with a record, and that why am I on the bridge? Sonny Justice got on and mocked the song that I went and I recorded at the bridge, which by the case has nothing to do with Delphi case. I wrote that song in 1998. And yeah, they're
that's childish.
Concluded part of the ring. And now there's another guy named Frank Meister who joined them to conclude that I was part of the ring because somebody said they saw a dark complected person around. The first thing Frank Meister did was profile me. He looks Indian. What does it matter if I look Indian or Caucasian?
Yeah.
What does it matter? I've had to deal with for 25 years. Anywhere I go, the first question people ask me is, "Are you Indian?" So I bought a shirt that says, "Yes, I am, and please move on with life."
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. I really want to thank you for giving me this platform to directly address a crime and shame, and also other channels that have joined Sonny Justice, like unsolved crimes unresolved. A lady who said that I struck a B-flat note because I had mentioned that what caught my interest in this case was one of the girls wearing a soccer shirt. And that's all I knew about the case prior to being incarcerated with Kagan.
What?
And she said, "Oh, it struck him a B-flat note." Little comments and, just slandering. And I want to address them, and I have contacted them. I've been polite. I've been professional. I've been unprofessional. I've been mean. I've been rude. I've been direct. I've been assertive. I've been passive, and they refuse to address me. So I really thank you for giving me this platform. I'm gonna show you real quick, but because it's on other phone, but I have a message from Frank Meister. He reaches out to me through Messenger, and he says, "Sup," SUP, meaning what's up. So what do? I hit video call. I call him, and he rejects my call. So why are you going to be reaching out to me, Frank Meister, and what's up, and then decline my call? I mean, you took my call, didn't you, Riggs? Justice will get on YouTube and in front of and to all her viewers and say things about everybody. I mean, YouTube died and a crime and shame became the elite. They are the only ones who care about Abby and Libby. I've seen some good ones too, you know. There's a lady from Africa, Grizzly Crime, I believe it's called. I like the Unsolved. I've browsed through your channel, and there's a couple other ones.
He's talking about Grizzly?
There's a guy that his name is Rick Snay, and he is cross comments on that, but not very much. I think there were like 3 cross comments, and I said, man, just a few weeks or a month ago you were saying he's too old for that shit, and now you're saying I knew it was him, and they had him, let him go. Well, Rick, but he does a good job, man.
He does.
But you know, his channel, I like his channel, but it's not something that I feel, you know, when you're in a public, you're doing something publicly. It's kind of like Trump was a public image, but his mouth was awful,
think so.
Right? And everybody saw it, right? But when he did his job, he did pretty good at his job.
Right.
Well, now the first part of the bridge where you come up, I'm not too sure. I think it's the north side, but they put a rail. They have new boards. The old boards are gone, and they have rails. And then it comes to a stoppage time to where the first platform would be. And so I don't think people can walk across the whole thing anymore. It's I've been this time I was sober for 3 years and I relapsed in June, so I'm starting over. I'm going on 7 months. I'll give you a song.
I'm not sure, Kid Kitty. All right, I'm not gonna check this song out. All right, that's all I needed to. I'm wondering if there's. He said that he had talked to them before. I'm wondering if there's a. What? Huh. Oh, so they came out with this. Is Brian Koberger Papa Roger? Okay, yeah, we did. We have used their channel before. All right, cool. Oh. All right, we're gonna switch. There's some new videos out here. How will makes it easy? Let's see here. Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Well, a missing Massachusetts mother, Anna Walsh, has been missing for 2 weeks, and tonight we're learning more. Police phone logs reveal she was first reported missing to police by her employer, not her husband, as the husband's attorney claimed in court. Join me now to weigh in on this and more, Dog the Bounty Hunter, Dwayne Chapman. Dog, what's your sense? What's your gut? Usually your gut is right, your first gut. What's your first gut with this case?
Well, would judge a book by its cover. And what other cases are familiar to this, start and not start or end, but say Scott Peterson. It seems like all these husbands that have something to do with it pass out wanted posters, get involved, aren't the first ones to call the police. Then police consider they can't leave the state or the country. And lo and behold, it ends up to be the husband. So as far as the MO, the method of operation on how it's happening, it looks like the husband.
Damn, how old is Dog the Bounty Hunter? Jeez. He's got to be old as shit
the
now.
Method of operation on how it's happening, it looks like the husband had either something to do with it, or that would be the first thing I did, is talk to the husband.
You know, and that snarky grin, that picture of him after, even coming out of the police station when they first questioned him, you know, he just looked like, you know, the cat with the mouse tail hanging out of his mouth. Again, I can't judge person. We don't know what actually happened, but all signs, all things are pointing towards this guy, kind of, right?
Exactly right. You know what I wish, brother, the way we're getting, it's 23 now. What is the stuff, sodium pentothal, is it, they give you for true serum? These kind of cases, if someone would bring up emotion, these kind of missing persons, children, wives, you give the alleged perp one of those chemicals to tell the truth and the whole truth, will save all kinds of time and could save lives. These guys can hire lawyers, flip and spin, and, you know, we're looking and could find these victims. I think it's time that we give them some kind of chemical help to find out if they're guilty or not.
Holy crap.
But Doug, you can talk about this other case. You know, I think prior to the last time we were this Idaho murder, these 4 young, beautiful people who were murdered in Idaho, and now the guy, they call him a suspect, but I mean, they got him dead to rights, Brian Kohlberger. What are your thoughts? And he was having normal conversations with neighbors about, hey, did you hear about those murders? I don't know. He failed all. I mean, he's a criminal justice PhD, but he failed at all that stuff, didn't he?
Well, yes, in Idaho, thank God, there's no such a thing as the insanity plea. You can't plead that. I haven't checked to see if they've got the death penalty. But, you know, there's, as we talked before when we were talking, there's evil crime and there's satanic and possessed crime. You know, this is demonic. This is, you know, bottom line, this is demonic. And he's taking it, you know, no mask. He's taking it like a man, walking in and out of there. Again, 90 days, he should be punished. I'm not sure about the death penalty. I heard the other day that when the death penalty was waived on the guy that shot all the kids in Florida, I heard a father say he walked up to his daughter, who was a victim's grave, and he said, even if the guy would have gotten the death penalty, she was still lying there. So there's got to be, you know, something more. I mean, once in a while, there's nothing we can do about it but track him down. This is demonic, and this is how it seems like our country is headed. You know, look at our leaders. You know, as they say, the plumber says poop runs downhill. Look at our leaders. Look what's happening to this country. I think we're going to see a lot more of these guys.
You know, Doug, we had the video of the vigilante guy who was in Houston. It was a taqueria. The guy walks in and he's waving around a gun. Everyone thought it was going to be a fake gun, but it looked like a gun for all practical purposes. And people were handing over their money to him.
Oh shit!
And people were screaming. They were laying on the ground. They were crying. And as he walks around a little bit, a guy who had a concealed carry, had a right to carry, he shot him. And I'm just thinking, you know, this is a textbook example of the Second Amendment, but it also should be shown. Let's talk a little bit about whether you're pro. It doesn't matter. It should be shown in around town that this is what's going to happen if you start waving a gun around. Like, this could happen to you too.
Exactly right. And he, you know, was, and I think in almost everybody's mind, justified. Like you said, he didn't know the guy had a fake gun. What if he had a knife? What if somebody would have said, I'm not giving you my money? Would he have pulled out a blade? I mean, I think exactly that's what should have happened. He shot, the guy was either going to kill someone or take their money. You know, I wanted to do on my dog cast an interview with the guy, because this is what's going to happen to you criminals, you know, across America right now. When you try to rob people like that, you never know who's packing a gun. It could be an elderly lady, kid 18, you know, and over. You never know. So you're going up against more than you used to be able to go up against. I think he was very justified in stopping that guy how he did, and gave all the money back to everybody there. Let's interview the victims. How did they feel when that gun was shoved in their face?
Wow.
And how did they feel when the guy handed back the money? You know, that's who I'd like to speak to.
Yeah. I'm sure they were thrilled that guy say, you don't know if it's real guy. By the way, that door, he could have gone to the door, locked it, and started blowing away people. I mean, You don't know what's in the mind of someone who's willing to take that first step and start waving what looks like a gun. And like I said, I think that video would be more of a deterrent to future criminals than saying, hey, by the way, if you get caught, you're going to jail for the rest of your life.
Absolutely right. Well, in the old days, you know, they would hang in public, and it said it cut down on a lot of the crime. I have arrested a lot of guys that had fake guns. You know what? They got a real knife. Because if someone says no, shoot me, and they can't, then they'll just pull out a knife and say, hey, how about this? So I didn't see what was on his body when they found him, but I think the guy was justified completely for putting an end to that guy's life of crime.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. Your retirement funds are being threatened with even more losses from
free gold coin. Let's see here. And what was this? Failed GOP candidate pulled trigger during drive-by shooting? What?
Pena was taken into custody yesterday afternoon following a standoff with a SWAT team. Albuquerque police say he conspired with and paid cash to 4 other men to shoot up the homes of 4 Democrats.
What?
The shootings took place between December the 4th and January 3rd. One of the lawmakers, State Senator Linda Lopez, says 3 of the bullets passed through her 10-year-old daughter's bedroom, just over the bed where she slept. Investigators write in the newly released arrest warrant that Pena went along for one drive-by at Lopez's home and even pulled the trigger of an AR he was armed with.
Whoa.
But then it jammed. The other assailant's gun did not. Quote, witness stated that Solomon further expressed discontent that the shootings were late at night. Solomon wanted the shootings to be more aggressive. Solomon wanted them to aim lower and shoot around 8 p.m. because occupants would more likely not be laying down.
Wow.
Several of the lawmakers, including Commissioner Adrian Barboa, say Pena actually visited them at their homes to complain about the results of the election just days or weeks before the shootings.
Yeah, he came to my house after the election and is an election denier. He weaponized those dangerous thoughts to threaten me and others, causing serious trauma. He was saying that the elections were fake, that really speaking erratically. I didn't feel threatened at the time, but I did feel like he was, erratic.
And that tracks with what authorities said at a press conference last night.
EPD essentially discovered what we had all feared and what we had suspected, that these shootings were indeed politically motivated. And that has basically been confirmed by this investigation.
As the mayor said, he's an election denier. He doesn't want to accept the results of the election. So he approached all of these commissioners and the senators at their home with paperwork claiming that there was fraud involved in those elections. I think they all expressed that they were puzzled and surprised. One actually led to quite an argument, I believe. So I think that plays into some of this, but it was shortly after that is when the shootings occurred.
Pena was vocal about his anger over his election loss on social media, tweeting this photo of himself after Election Day and saying he never conceded his race, which, by the way, he lost by a huge margin. His opponent got more than 73% of the vote. That didn't stop Pena from insisting the election was rigged. The evidence against Pena in the shootings includes weapons police have recovered, cell phone records, surveillance footage, multiple witnesses, at least one of whom says he was present for one of the shootings. But Pena was pretty close to being disqualified from even running based on his criminal history.
What?
Pena apparently led a crew that smashed their way into big box retailers using stolen cars and loading it up with stolen goods. His Democratic opponent, who eventually won the election, Representative Miguel Garcia, even challenged Pena's candidacy in court. But a judge ruled he could stay on the ballot, saying a state law that bars felons from holding office unless they get a pardon from the governor was unconstitutional. State GOP leaders stood up for him at the time. Matt Garcia Sierra, communications director for the House GOP leadership, said, as someone who was raised in the South Valley, I'm disappointed to see so-called civil rights activists attempt to use this example of this young Hispanic man who turned his life around for their political movement. Joining me now is Harold Medina, chief of the Albuquerque Police Department. Chief, thanks a lot for coming on the program. Appreciate it. So talk to us about the evidence. Talk to us about what led you to this guy in the first place.
You know, this is a case of a lot of cooperation between various agencies and a huge investment in technology to the Albuquerque Police Department over the past several years. We know that we had some shootings. We were concerned that they were related, but the big break in this case came unknowingly to the Albuquerque Police Department. Senator Lopez's house was shot up, and about an hour later, a Sheriff's Department deputy unknowingly pulled over a vehicle for a simple driving violation.
Wow.
The individual was found to have a warrant. The individual was placed under arrest. And during the inventory of that vehicle, 2 firearms were recovered and tagged into evidence. We believe in
Have a good night.
We believe
Thank
in
you for
ballistic
hopping in.
matching shell casings. And at the same time that this was occurring and the sheriff's deputy was conducting this arrest, an APD officer had gotten a shot spotter alert, had gone out and recovered some shell casings that they found in the street. The deputy didn't even know that the senator's house had been hit. We tagged the shell casings into evidence, and they went into the NIBIN system. And when the guns came in from the sheriff's department and they go to our crime lab, they were matched to the shell casings at Lopez's residence, and we were able to tie that this individual was involved. And from there, the case just started to move forward.
I'm going to summarize it, Chief, and say it was good police work.
Look at that
thank you
clip.
for watching. Go to News Nation now.
Look at that clip. Holy crap. Whoa. That's crazy. Oh, you know what? Actually, I want to go to this video here.
Bringing down someone
instead.
familiar with building murder.
Go to this one instead.
Okay, no hype here. Big developments. Brian Walsh, the husband of the missing mother in Massachusetts, Anna Walsh, has now been officially charged with homicide. Okay?
How will the
Sources
absence of
believe
body
that the case is
impact?
going to be about his attempt to murder and then completing it and then getting rid of the body, perhaps by dismembering it. That will relate to some of the evidence that they found. The new theory that's being floated in the media, disposed of the remains at an incinerator near the home. An official who was close to the investigation is cited in reporting as saying, "We don't believe a body will be found intact." High-profile criminal defense attorney Mark Garagos back, as well as criminal behaviorist, homicide investigator Sarah Kalin. Good to have you both. Sarah, this information, no body. How big an obstacle is that in making the crime, even with all the carpet, with the tissue and the hacksaw and all the other things they found?
Well, I mean, I'm certainly happy to speak to it in broad terms when it comes to the details of how one handles a case like that on either side of the table. I would, of course, defer to Mark, but, you know, we do see that.
What's up, Dre? We're all hopping off here in a few. Be back tomorrow night, though.
See this. It doesn't happen frequently, but it does happen where we are able to arrest and, you know, eventually, hopefully successfully prosecute somebody for homicide, even without a body. And I think typically what you would be looking for as on the investigation side is evidence that the events that took place at the scene of the crime were not something that a human was likely to be able to survive. And so when, you know, if they're talking about tissue, do we know what kind of tissue it is? You know, stuff like this that would indicate to the medical examiner and to forensics experts that a human could not have survived this. And that's the kind of thing that the investigators are going to do to make the case for prosecuting without
I wonder if they found something at the house.
without a body to, you know.
Like, you know, remains.
To have examined at an autopsy or something. But again, I would certainly defer to Mark on how that looks in a courtroom.
Always your first mistake, giving up that leverage. What is the take from the other side of the table?
Well, look, there was a legendary DA in LA named J. Miller Levy. And probably sometime when I was 5 or 6 years old, he was one of the original guys who prosecuted successfully a no-body case. He later, after he retired, he kind of rented himself out as the no-body prosecutor to various jurisdictions. So they do it, and they do it with some degree of frequency, and I would agree it's not common. And what they do is they focus on First of all, the circumstantial evidence. She would, if she was here, she would not do this. She wouldn't do that. She would be around. She wouldn't leave her kids. And then they will focus on the forensic evidence. If you've got blood and you've got a hacksaw and you have a knife, and mind you, what was reported today, Michelle McPhee was the reporter who broke this. Apparently, she's being told that there is both either GPS or cell phone pings near the incinerator, 2 incinerator locations. So I'm sure they've searched that or they've looked for that too. They don't expect a body to be found, but I bet tomorrow when they unseal the affidavit, you're going to see that that is their theory.
Tomorrow is the arraignment. So you'll hear the presentation of the charges against him, and they can give information. They don't have to give that much for it, but...
Well, I usually will criticize the prosecutors for what they say, and I've done that. I freely do that. Today, I thought that the Norfolk County prosecutor did a fine job. I mean, he limited it. He said, just the basics, and said it's sealed and we'll see tomorrow if it's unsealed. I mean, the defense, if I'm the defense lawyer, I'm probably going to be arguing, I don't want that unsealed. The amount of publicity about this is going to make it impossible to get a fair trial. And you've got to do something to damp down the media attention surrounding this.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com. NewsNation.
All right, now check out that other video real quick. I just wanted to see. It's interesting that. Let's see. Made it easy, of course.
Bringing down someone familiar with building murder cases, a retired NYPD detective and criminal justice Mike Gazar. Thank you so much for being with us. We know police have been building this case for weeks. What was there evidence that decision to go ahead and file the murder charges today?
Well, I'm sure what raised it up to draw this probable cause arrest is probably DNA evidence. They probably recovered DNA evidence. We saw that they went to the trash compactor place and they recovered like clothing, pieces of clothing. So I'm sure they probably have Brian's DNA on that, as well as the victim. So I'm sure DNA is what raised this to the arrest warrant.
All right. So Michael, have you ever seen a case where a murder suspect appeared to make so many mistakes covering their tracks? I mean, let's not forget he was wearing an ankle monitor from a separate federal case. I hate to say this, but I mean, you see the dumbest criminal.
It was. We've had perps in the past like post their videos of their guns and their winnings and the money, but this guy with his ankle monitor and searching for how to dispose of a body, he's pretty stupid.
And do you think police, or investigators even stop to consider another suspect? I mean, I know they tend to start with those who were closest and then work out. Did they even have to work out in this case?
No, of course. We never rule something like that out. We always look for other potential suspects, but this gentleman made it a lot easier for us to just make him our number one.
And we know, obviously, loved ones really want answers here. Do you think they will ever recover a body?
I believe so. Perhaps this guy will confess to it once the charges are brought forward and he's indicted. I hope he just gives the information to us to let us know where the victim's body is.
Absolutely. And she was a mother of 3 boys. We know. So what happens next? What kind of we see?
Right now, I'm sure they're gonna probably revisit the house, perhaps process another crime scene. We've seen that recently with the Idaho homicides. So they're gonna cover all their bases. They're gonna make sure that the evidence is processed correctly and protected and then presented for courtroom testimony.
All right. Retired criminal justice professor, thank you. I'll make sure to stick around. Thank you for watching newsnationnow.com.
Thank you for watching. Good as New Nation. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end the show now. Just wanted to play a couple of those. Sorry you missed everything, Dre. We did cover a lot in the Anna Walsh case. especially in the beginning. Then we kind of transitioned over to some Delphi later on and some other stuff. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and hop off, get a little extra rest. And then in that way, the rest of the week, I'm awake and energetic and all that stuff. Thanks for hanging out tonight. You too. Thank you for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow. Hope you have a peaceful and positive evening. And I'm glad we got to go over some other stuff today. But we'll be getting back into some of the Idaho stuff tomorrow and the next. Good night, everybody.